We're now at a point where I think we're ready to start talking about subs, otherwise known as functions. These are kind of mini programs that you run within a program, and we'll talk about the benefit as time goes on. I've started off with kind of a mini text-based game. You are at the beach, what do you want to do? And we give the user a choice of either 1, go to the caves, or 2, go to the waterfall. So we could simply now say store what the user's choice is. So user choice equals text_window.read, so that it gives the user an opportunity to type in whether they want to do 1 or 2. And we could follow this along with an if statement. So if the user choice if the user choice is equal to 1, then, well, we want to go to the caves, which we'll code in a minute. I'll just write in here for now. Yeah, we'll just write go to caves. I know this doesn't do anything at the moment, but it'll just be a placeholder. Else if, making sure we don't do a separate if statement here, as we've learned previously that can cause issues. Else if user choice is equal to 2, then we're going to go to the waterfall. Go to the, in fact I don't think we need the word the, we can just say go to waterfall. And of course we'll need to end our if statement. So this works pretty nicely, that kind of makes logical sense. What we don't have yet is a waterfall, and we don't have a cave section. This is our beach section. You are at the beach. What do you want to do? And it gives us a choice to go to other places. So we could actually make this a job in itself. We could say sub when we first start typing in here. Now, a sub is, as it says up here, it's a subroutine. It's a statement that allows you to group things with a single call. So we'll talk about calling a sub in a second. So we're going to call this sub beach. In fact, I'm going to call it go to beach. If I'd have just called it beach, it might not have been as clear, so very good names for subs are really crucial. Sub go to beach. Now, because all of this stuff is inside this job, this sub, this function, whatever you want to call it, I need to make sure it's all indented. So I do have to come down and just tab in, tab key being the best way to do this, and tab in all of this information. So now you can see that all of these lines of code are inside the sub, and this one's indented twice because it's not only in the sub, it's also in the if statement, which is in the sub. So you get a hierarchy of indentation. So now we've got this sub created, as you may have expected, we need to end that sub, and that's just to tell it that we've finished this job. The only problem we've got now is that these two lines of code don't make any sense. They don't do anything. And maybe for now we'll just say, I don't know, text_window.writeLine. Oops. And we'll just print go to caves for now. And we'll do the same with go to waterfall, just so we know that those work in themselves. So if we run that code now, so it first of all asks us, oh, no it doesn't, so why hasn't it run at all? Well, quite simply, when you create subs, they become jobs. The program is happy that it exists, and when it went to run it, it said, okay, this job exists, sub, and I can see all this stuff in it, brilliant. but we didn't actually ever tell it to run. We call this calling the sub. Okay, so to call this sub, we just need to type the name of it. So if I start typing, autocomplete does kick in for you. So we can say we want to do the go to beach. And again, notice that we've got the telephone call sign here, and that's just because we're calling that sub. So I call go to beach just by typing the name of it and then open bracket, close bracket. And if we run it once more, it will recognise we've got the sub, and then it will start to actually execute that sub when we called it. You are at the beach. What do you want to do? So we can either go to the enough, we go to the waterfall. So that's how subs can work. Wouldn't it be nice though if we had a sub like this for each of the different locations? So I'm going to shrink down our text a little bit now, just so we can fit a little bit more on the page at once. I'm going to take this job here, very lazily, and this is where errors can happen. I'm going to paste it below, and this one's going to be called go to caves, for example. And it says you are at the caves. So at that point we can either go to the beach or we can go to the waterfall. So if the user's choice is 1, go to the beach, then rather than write go to the beach, we can actually run that sub. So in here I could say go to beach, and we'll run that sub. So if the user chooses 1, we'll go to the beach. The same up here, we give them the option here to, if user chooses 1, then we'll write go to the caves. Well, rather than write it, why don't we go and run this sub we've just made for it? Go to caves. Now, that way we can get back and forth from the beach. We don't have a waterfall sub yet, so why not? Let's go all out, and we'll paste that again. And this one's going to be called go to waterfall. And at the you are at the waterfall. You can see how it's very easy to make mistakes because there's so much to change. We can either go to the caves or we can go to the beach. And if they choose 1, then we go to caves. And if they choose 2, then we go to beach. Which means we can now add into here that we can go to the waterfall as well, because we've now created that sub. And the same with the very first sub, the go to beach. Rather than just write go to waterfall, we can go to waterfall. So let's run this, and we'll probably find I've made a mistake here somewhere. So we run the beach. You are at the beach. What do you want to do? Well, let's go to the caves. So I type 1, hit enter. You are at the caves. What do you want to do? Well, let's go to the waterfall. 2. You're at the waterfall. What do you want to do? Let's go to the caves. 1. You're at the caves. What do you want to do? Let's go to the beach. 1. You're at the beach. What do you want to do? This gets pretty boring and laborious, but hopefully it gives you an idea that you can actually make a fully fledged game where the user can move around different places or do different jobs multiple times, and we don't have to keep writing the same bit of code. So as I've said before, you can either call a sub outside of a sub, or you can within a sub or within an if statement say, well, if they've chosen that, we'll go to the beach. So what don't I like about this idea so far? Well, this works okay, but what if I were to type 3? Well, it's not going to be very good. So it gets awfully confusing with, I might want an else statement that says you must choose 1 or 2. And then I could run the go to beach sub once more.